Okay. Good evening. And welcome to everyone who's joining us on the internet. So we ended up last time with the question, do I want the problem or do I want the answer? And mind you, this question follows a part in the book where we were discussing the call for love, where the human condition, with all of its psychological complexities, were being discussed. And then suddenly the book apparently changes course, changes subject. And the change demonstrated the appropriate response to the call for love, which we could call bad behavior. Because it brought the attention back to how you are seeing things. Instead of saying, okay, here's how you treat this person, here's how you treat that person, here's how you treat the other person. Here's the solution to changing other people. For the better, of course. And then the question was posed, do I want the problem or do I want the answer? It's very simple. If you want the problem, you will try to deal with people out there. You will try to change circumstances. You will try to take charge beneficently. But nevertheless, it will be you taking charge, you coercing order out of chaos. And if you want to have the problem, that's the way to do it. But if you want the answer, you're going to have to step back from the presenting presence that your brother or your world is putting in your face, to see how it is that you are using your own mind. Why? Because until you're using your mind rightly, you will spontaneously respond out of habit from your memory and from the definitions you have applied to your brothers, your sisters, and your world. If you want the answer, you have to step back to a point prior to your definitions. And you do that by inquiring of the Holy Spirit or the Father. What is the meaning here? What is the truth here? What is the answer? And then you have to shut up. You have to be still so that you might listen and experience the revelation, the revealing of what the truth is, so that in that place and from that perspective you may act well. And be able to respond to the call for love with that which answers the call for love, period. Now, let's continue. You complain that this course is not sufficiently specific for you to understand it and use it. Yet, it has been very specific, and you have not done what it specifically advocates. This is not a course in the play of ideas, but in their practical application. In other words, this course isn't about the words you're reading. It isn't about the ideas that they engender that you can work around and manipulate and come to better conclusions with. No, it's not a course in the play of ideas, but in their practical application. Nothing could be more specific than to be told very clearly that if you ask, you will receive. You will receive. Oh, yeah, but it would be so much easier if I could just respond because I know what the answer is. I know that if they would just do this, it would change their lives. Why take the time? Why waste the time to ask? And then do this thing that I'm not really familiar with doing well. Listen. The problem might be gone by the time I get the answer. Indeed. Nothing could be more specific than to be told very clearly that if you ask, you will receive. The Holy Spirit will answer every specific problem as long as you believe that problems are specific. His answer is both many and one, as long as you believe that the capital O, one, is many. Realize that you are afraid of His, the Holy Spirit's, specificity, which is another way of saying, realize that you are afraid of the specificity of that which is nothing more than your right mind. For fear of what you think it will demand of you. Strange words. You would probably say, well, I never thought it would demand anything of me. And maybe you haven't actually thought it through. But the simple fact is that if you're asking for guidance, you're abandoning your free will, aren't you? Whether you're thinking about it or not. When you ask of the Holy Spirit what to do, you're introducing a willingness to yield to an authority other than your own. And so you think that if you listen to the Holy Spirit, it's going to require of you to sacrifice your autonomy, your independence, that which makes you unique and special and different, appropriately different from everyone else. Realize that you are afraid of His specificity for fear of what you think it will demand of you. Yet, only by asking will you learn that nothing that is of God demands anything of you. God gives. He does not take. That's true. at the bottom line, what you are afraid of is really clear thinking. You are afraid that you're going to lose your independent authority. It won't happen because it will be taken away from you. The only way it will happen is if you give it up voluntarily, willingly, because you would rather put your mind to a different use. You would like to put your mind to the use of standing in receipt of what God gives, which is all. God withholds nothing of what He is from His creation. So you will have to abandon your independence, your autonomy, in order to re-embrace all that is. But that's your birthright. That is what you're supposed to be experiencing. You, continuing, are refusing to ask because you believe that asking is taking, and you do not perceive it as sharing. The Holy Spirit will give you only what is yours, and will take nothing in return. For what is yours is everything, and you share it with God. In other words, you have it together with God. You have it together with all of your brothers and sisters. Because it is shared, there is no withholding. And none of you are in an unequal or inequitable state. This is its reality. Would the Holy Spirit, which is nothing more than your right mind, who wills only to restore, be capable of misinterpreting the question you must ask to learn His answer? And that's an important question, because it means that you don't have to ask a perfect question. The intent, the meaning, will not be misunderstood by what is nothing more than your right mind. No matter what you ask, no matter how it's worded, when you ask, you introduce something new into the picture that hasn't been there. It's an attitude of inclusion instead of staunch independence. And that cannot be misunderstood, no matter how poorly you ask the question. You have heard the answer, but you have misunderstood the question, meaning the nature of the question. You have believed that to ask for guidance of the Holy Spirit is to ask for deprivation. Again, because you are afraid you're going to have to give up your independence. That knowing God's truth will constitute a significant loss for you, not the least of which is the freedom to see things your own way. Because if you don't have the freedom to see things your own way, you have no means of introducing anything original into life, into the human condition. But you know what? none of you is required to be able to provide something uniquely original to the human condition in order to improve it. Because the human condition is nothing more than the result of having attempted to look at reality independently. And the minute you abandon that independent stance, you will find that no uniquely original idea is called for, because you're no longer suffering from a biased perception of reality that calls for a uniquely original response. You see, any uniquely original response you feel is needed can only be needed to help correct something in the human condition. But there wouldn't be any human condition calling for correction if you abandoned your independent autonomy and joined with your source. The Holy Spirit will give you only what is yours, which is everything, and will take nothing in return. For what is yours is everything. And you share it with God. This is its reality. Would the Holy Spirit, who wills only to restore, be capable of misinterpreting the question you must ask to learn his answer? You have heard the answer, but you have misunderstood the question. You have believed that to ask for guidance of the Holy Spirit is to ask for deprivation. Little children of God, you do not understand your Father. You believe in a world that takes because you believe that you can get by taking. And by that perception, you have lost sight of the real world. You are afraid of the world as you see it, but the real world is still yours for the asking. Do not deny it to yourself, for it can only free you. Nothing of God, and I will say nothing of reality, will enslave you. Nothing of God will enslave his Son, whom he created free, and whose freedom is protected by, capital H, his, capital B, being. Blessed are you who will ask the truth of God without fear. For only thus can you learn that his answer is the release from fear. Beautiful child of God, you are asking only for what I promised you. Do you believe I would deceive you? The kingdom of heaven is within you. Believe that the truth is in me, for I know that it is in you. Do you see what I'm saying here? I'm saying lean on me. Lean on my vision of you, because that is the way you can claim it for yourself. You doubt that it's in you, but I know that it's in you. And you can lean on me as a most practical and loving means of claiming it for yourself. having it for yourself. God's sons have nothing which they do not share. Ask for truth of any son of God, and you have asked it of me. It's a little hard for you to believe when you see the way some of the sons of God are behaving. But you know what? I'm not asking you to ask of your brother's behavior to know the truth. I'm asking you to ask of your brother, who is the Christ, whether he knows it or not, what the truth is. And this does not mean that you have to go up to him face to face and in words say, "Tell me the truth about me." But it means in your mind, and we're talking about not what you do with your brother, but the use to which you are putting your mind. You ask of the Christ that you know your brother is what the truth is. You ask that your encounter with your brother, regardless of his behavior, and regardless of what he thinks he is or what he thinks you are, you ask that your encounter with your brother be one that illuminates truth to you more clearly than ever before. Continuing, no one of us but has the answer in him to give to anyone who asks it of him. Ask anything of God's Son. You see, it says, ask anything of God's Son, not the bastard you think he is, not the bastard he thinks he is. Ask anything of God's Son, because that is the only thing that's really there. And what? His Father will answer you. For Christ, the one he truly is not deceived in his Father, and his Father is not deceived in him. You see, you will not see the answer for your brother until you see that your brother is no different from yourself, and that you are both the Christ. And in the realization that both of you are the Christ, conscious of it or not, you are apprehending both of yourselves correctly, which means that the healing is available for both of you, and you are not holding him to his poor behavior and seeing him as unworthy of the answer, and thereby you are not withholding the answer from yourself, as long as you think you are worthy of the answer, but your brother is not. Neither one of you will have the answer together. Continuing. Do not then be deceived in your brother, and see only his loving thoughts as his reality. For by denying that his mind is split, you will heal yours. These are the things you will find out at an experiential level when you turn to the Father or the Holy Spirit to ask, what needs to be known here? What do I need to be here in the face of a call for love? So don't take these words and say, oh, now I know what the answer is. I'm not to be deceived in my brother, and I'm to see only his loving thoughts as his reality. For by denying that his mind is split, I will heal mine. Whoop-de-doo. That's not experience. That's mental masturbation. Don't do it. Don't avoid the becoming quiet part of it, where you abandon what you're confident of to ask of the Holy Spirit, what is the truth here that will answer the call for love, that will really answer the call for love? Accept him, your brother, as his Father accepts him, and heal him unto Christ. Well, what does that mean? In a way, it means lift him up unto his Christhood, instead of holding him to your lesser definition of him and your self-righteous emotional reactions to your lesser definition of him. Accept him as his Father accepts him, and heal him unto Christ, for Christ is his healing and yours. Your Christhood and his Christhood are his healing and yours. Christ is the Son of God, who is in no way separate from his Father. And you have the experience of this when you abandon your separation from your Father by inquiring of your Father, what is the truth here? What is the truth that I need to be aware of about him and about me? What is the truth about him that goes beyond what my poor conception of him does? Christ is the Son of God, who is in no way separate from his Father, whose every thought is as loving as the thought of his Father, by which he was created. Be not deceived in God's Son. You get it? Be not deceived. Be not deceived. Don't deceive yourselves through the use of your own poor definitions of each other. You've got to abandon them if you're going to see healing in your own mind and in your brother's mind. Be not deceived in God's Son, for thereby you must be deceived in yourself. And being deceived in yourself, you are deceived in your Father, in whom no deceit is possible. If you want to be an agent for change, if you want to successfully respond to the call for love, you're going to have to operate outside of whatever your current mindsets are. Because if you weren't in your current mindsets, you would be seeing reality. And you would not be inappropriate. And healing would surround you wherever you went.